All right, everybody. So let's, if you guys will, let's turn to chapter 14 in your textbook, okay? And we'll get started on page 560. So in this section, we're just going to look at how do we fill a prescription for like the whole month, okay? So it says, in some cases, a physician may accidentally write orders for dispensing medicine, but they may not put the whole month's worth of medicine on it. If that's the case, then you're going to have to figure that out to know how much to give them. Okay, so look at this formula. Total dosage required equals the number of doses per day times the total number of days. So look at practice problem A, number 1 there, 561. It says a physician prescribes phenobarb 1.5 grains by mouth every 6 hours for epilepsy. Okay, so our order is for 1.5 grains. I'm going to write it out like this just so that I will know what I'm looking at. Q 6 hours, okay? Now, it says the order is to provide a month's supply with each refill. So now, let's figure out, it says usually provide a label, how many tablets would we need for the patient? First, we need to figure out how many milligrams. We need to get to the tablets part. Okay, so we want to know how many tablets. Let's first just figure out how many tablets we need per dose. Okay. So if we do this, we want tablets up here. So we know that in every tablet, how many milligrams? We have 30 milligrams. Okay, we got to get to milligrams. Right now we're at grains. So what do we know about milligrams? We know that there's 60 milligrams in every grain. Okay. I don't like that. Okay, and then we know that our order is for 1.5 grains. So we do grain, milligrams. This should get us, because this is per dose, right? This should get us our tablets. So 1.5 times 60 is 90, right? And then 90 divided by 30 is 3. So we have 3 tablets. So every dose, if they take this medicine, they have to have 3 tablets because they're 30 milligram tablets, like it says on the label there. Okay, well now let's want to know how many pills total. Well, what we know is that every 6 hours, that means how many doses per day do they need this medicine? Should be 4, right? They take it every 6 hours, 24 divided by 6 is 4. So that means they're going to do 4 doses a day. So if they need 3 tablets per dose and we have 4 doses a day, we can multiply 4 times 3, and that's 12. So that's 12 tablets per day is what they need. Plus, we know that they're doing a whole month, and we know that that's 30 days. And that's always can be the assumption. Whenever you're doing this, if they just supply it for a month, you assume that the month is 30 days, unless it says otherwise. So that goes for any of them. It's always 30 days unless it says the month of August or the month of July or whatever. So 12 tablets a day, and we know we have 30 days, so it's 12 times 30 is going to be our answer. Okay, so 360 tablets is what we actually need. 3 tablets, 12 tablets a day. That's a lot of tablets. We already figured out the rest of this. What's the dose every 6 hours in tablets? That's 3. What's the dose in milligrams? That was 90. And then on the prescription label, now whenever you see that written there, it's just like we did before. I want you to write it out exactly like you would write it on the label. So it needs to be very plain and very simple. Okay? Take 3 tablets as needed every 6, or no, not as needed. Take 3 tablets every 6 hours. Okay, that's it. I mean, that pretty much explains it. All right, let's do number 3. On page 562, it says the physician prescribes cephalexin oral suspension 62.5 milligrams by mouth every 6 hours for 10 days. That times just means 4, so for 10 days. Indicate the dose on the available utensil below. All right, so let's see. What volume of medication would be administered with each dose? So remember, if you're looking for volume, okay, then that means you're wanting to know milliliters or teaspoons. Typically, for this, it's going to be milliliters unless it says a household measurement. So what volume would be administered with each dose? We've got, our order is for 62.5 milligrams, 5 ml, Q6 hours for 10 days. Marker's dying again. Okay, so what we have available, medication we have available is 125 milligrams per 5 milliliters. Now it says what volume of medication would be administered with each dose. Okay, so let's figure out what we need per dose. So this is one dose of 62.5 milligrams. So we want to know volume, that means we want milliliters. So I know, here's my, what's available. So I'm going to put 5 milliliters over 125 milligrams, multiplied by 62.5, that's our order. Okay? 5 by 2 should be 2.5. Okay? Should be 2.5. Let me add that up though. Just to make sure. Yeah, 2.5 milliliters. So that's our answer to that first question. Now it says, would the label shown provide adequate medication to fulfill the prescription? So if they needed this prescription for the whole time, is it going to be enough? Okay, look, how much does it have total? It has 60 milliliters total. Okay, so 60 milliliters total. And this, some of this is just going to take you kind of thinking through it. So is it going to have enough? Well, let's see. How much do we actually need? Okay, so let's figure out first how many milliliters do we actually need for the whole prescription? So if we've got 2.5 milliliters per dose, okay, we know if it's Q6 hours, we have 4 doses a day. Okay, 4 doses per day, and each dose is 2.5. So that means we can multiply 2.5 times 4. Okay, if we do it every 6 hours, means we've got 4 doses a day. 24 divided by 6 is 4. Okay, so 2.5 times 4 is 10. Okay, so we need 10 milliliters per day. And then we know we have 10 days. So we can just multiply it. So 10 milliliters per day times 10 days. That means we need 100 milliliters total, okay, to fill this medication. Okay, now what does it say? It says that this particular medication only has 60 milliliters. That's what it says on the label there. So what that means is we do not have enough. So that would be no. It says if this is adequate, what volume would be discarded? None. Because if the amount is inadequate, how many more milliliters of medication would be necessary? Okay, so we know if we've only got 60, we need 100. So the answer to that would be 40. And then what would be the dose in household measurements? Okay, so we know our dose is 2.5 milliliters. Okay, and if you'll remember, 1 teaspoon is 5 milliliters. That's what you need to memorize. Okay, so 2.5 milliliters, that would be half a teaspoon. And then indicate the prescription label, okay, on this syringe. So here you can see they've done half a teaspoon. You can color that in on the syringe. So that would be your prescription label. Take 1/2 teaspoon every 6 hours for 10 days, or 4 times a day for the next 10 days. That's how you would word that, okay? You want to make sure it's easy for them to understand. Don't forget, like on number 4, ones like that, you have to change your units into the same so that you've got the same. You don't get those mixed up. Let's look at some of these where they wrote out the prescription. Let's look at number 6 on page 564, because sometimes these are hard to read. Okay, it says, using the provided prescription, what volume of medication must be supplied to fill the order? All right, if you look, it says Keflex, 250 milligrams per 5 milliliters. And that's what that writing is on there. And you guys, as pharmacy techs, you will see some of the worst handwriting you've ever even thought existed. But that's okay. All right, so the orders for Keflex. They want 5 milliliters. POQID. If you'll remember, QID means 4 times a day, so it's every 6 hours, like we said. And what the medication? 250 milligrams per 5 milliliters. So that's specifically ordered at that strength. And they're supposed to do it for 7 days. Okay, so remember, QID is 4 times a day. So now it says, what volume do we need for the whole thing? Okay, so we can actually just multiply these. We need 5 milliliters 4 times a day, right? QID is every 6 hours, so 4 times a day. So 5 times 4 is 20. Okay, and then we need that for 7 days. Okay, so 20 times 7 is what, 140? So we need 140 milliliters for the whole prescription. So that's the volume. Now it says the medication is available in 80 milliliters, 100 milliliters, and 150 milliliter containers. Which containers should be chosen? Okay, so we need 140 milliliters total. So we would definitely want to choose the 150 milliliters. And then next it says, what volume should be discarded by the patient if the medication is taken correctly? Okay, so if it comes with 150 milliliters, we're just going to subtract. So there would be 10. And then the prescription label, I would give it in either, you can give it in teaspoons or milliliters, depending on what kind of device you give them to take it with. So 5 milliliters by mouth, take 5 milliliters by mouth 4 times a day for 7 days, or every 6 hours for 7 days. What you write, or you could put 1 teaspoon. Okay. So that's that. Try to see. Look at number 7. I just want to go over reading these. Amoxicillin 500 milligrams BID is what that says for 10 days. Number 8. Stathin 125 milligrams per teaspoon. So this one they wrote it out like that, and half a teaspoon twice a day, BID. Look at number 9. It says apply Q 3 days. That means every 3 days. So once every 3 days. Okay. Just wanted to go over some of this. Look at number 14. Paxil. I would say 2 that's 2 milligrams or 20 grams, 2 grams probably. 2 by mouth, POQ day is what that says, DAY. Sounds like really hard to read. It's definitely hard to read. Okay, so those are some examples. All right, now 571. Oh, the only other time, I don't think they gave any examples on here. Okay, we'll get to those in a minute. Calculating page 571 says calculating the number of medication doses in a given container. So look at this formula. It says some physicians write prescriptions to last a specified amount of time. The size of the dose and the amount of medication in the container is known. The number of doses can be calculated to ensure they have enough. So here the formula they say is the number of doses in the container is equal to the amount of medication in the container divided by dose. And that makes complete sense. You just think that through. That makes total sense. Okay. If you've got 15 milligrams in a vial and each dose is 5 milligrams, you're just going to do 15 divided by 5. You got 3 doses. Okay. Let's do a few practice ones. Let's do number 1, 572. It says how many full doses are available with this prescription? So look, Daypro. Oh, 6. I was like, what did I say? It says 2, so 2 tablets. Remember that dot with the line and then the 2 underneath it. Remember that that's just a number. And we learned that at the beginning, but I don't use that a lot, so I want to remind you of that. That just tells us that there's 2. Okay, remember that that's what that means. QHS, and then it says to dispense 65. Okay, so how many full doses are available with this prescription? So if they're supposed to take 2 every night and they dispense 65, you just divide. Okay, so you got 65 tablets, how much they dispense, and each dose is 2 tablets. That means you're just going to divide, so you're going to get, what, 32.5? 32.5, which is really 32 because it says full doses. They're going to have 32 doses. Okay, a weird order, but anyway. So on the prescription label with the directions, you would say, take 2 tablets every night before bed. Two tablets, yeah, every night for a month, if you wanted to say that. Okay, let's look at number 3. It says a patient is to take furosemide 80 milligrams daily. How many doses are in the container? Okay. So let's see, total, there's 100 tablets in the container. And each dose, so look, 80 milligrams is the dose. And each tablet is 40 milligrams. So first of all, let's figure out how many tablets per dose. Well, how many tablets are they supposed to take per dose? So in every tablet, there's 40 milligrams. And in each dose is 80 milligrams. So it should be pretty easy. So 2 tablets is every dose, and they're going to take that every day, once a day. So that means we're going to divide 100 divided by 2, because there's 100 tablets in here. We want to know how many doses are in here. So that's 50. So 50 would be your answer there. Your prescription label should say, take 2 tablets every day. Okay. Let's look at number 4, physician orders Humulin 70/30, 63 units every day. How many doses are in this vial? So look, there's 10 milliliters and 100 units per milliliter. That's what it says on your label. So let's figure out, you go 2 ways. You can either figure out 63 units is so many milliliters, or you can figure out how many units are in the whole vial. Let's just figure out how many units are in the vial. So 100 units per milliliter, and there's 10 milliliters. That means there's 1,000 units in the vial, okay? And each dose is 63 units. So I'm just going to divide 1,000 by 63. It should be 15.9, but really there's just 15 pure doses. So that would be 15 doses in the vial, a monthly supply. So if they're supposed to do this once a day, they would need, and there's 15 doses in the vial, they're going to need another dose, another vial, to get to that 30 days. They're using 15 doses. We need one for each day. So they're going to need 2 vials to get through the month. How many packages of insulin syringes would be necessary if each package contained 10 syringes? That's pretty simple. Okay, if they each contain 10, and we've got 30 days in the month, they're going to need 3 packages. Okay, and in the prescription label directions, you would just say, take 63 units, injection, every day. Humulin 70/30, the units every day. Okay. Okay, let's do one more that's a little bit different. Okay, let's look at number 12 on 577 real quick. Number 12. Physician orders Lopid 600 milligrams QAM. Get a new marker. 600 milligrams QAM. And what else? 300 milligrams QPM. Okay. Now, it says how many days can the patient expect the prescription to last using this label? Well, look, we have 600 milligrams per tablet. Okay, and then how many tablets do we have total? We have 60 tablets. So what I need to know is how long is this going to last? Well, let's figure out first how many tablets we're going to use up per day. Okay, so if we have 600 milligrams every morning, we already know there's 600 milligrams per tablet. So that's one tablet every day for the morning. And then in the evening, they're taking 300 milligrams. Okay, so we already know if each tablet is 600 milligrams, this is half of that. So this is a half a tablet every night. So we're using 1.5 tablets per day. And we got 60 tablets. So all we have to do is divide that. 60 divided by 1.5, which is, what, 40? So we have 40 doses. No, we have 40 days of medication, I'm sorry. Half a day, 30 days. Yeah, there's 60 tablets. Okay. And then the prescription label, it'd be, take Lopid 1 tablet every morning and half a tablet every evening. What you say? Always, and I haven't been saying this, but I do want you to know this. Whenever you indicate the prescription label, make sure you put the medication on there for this. Now, obviously in real life it's going to be listed on there, but so 600 milligrams every morning and 300 every evening. 1 tablet in the morning, half a tablet in the evening. Okay? Okay, good deal. Now this last little section, figuring out how long a prescription will last. Which we've kind of been doing this. They just kind of all go back and forth. Now look, it says the tech alert says the proper length of time between prescription refills is inappropriate. The pharmacist should be notified that the prescription cannot be refilled. And the pharmacist notifies the physician. It's really important that people don't, especially with some medications that are addictive, people may try to come back and get their refills early. And most of the time they can't do that. You can't give them a refill early. So it's really important that you get the medication, the amount that they need right, because they may not be able to come back and get more. Okay, it says this formula, the total dose administration time equals the amount of medication divided by the doses to be administered in a specific time. So let's just look at number 1. It says, how long would this prescription last? Okay, look, it says, it's so annoying to read that. So, 2, it looks like, I can't read the medicine there, but it's 2.5. 1 tablet, Q, 3 days. So 1 tablet, Q, 3 days. That means every 3 days they're going to take a tablet, okay? And they've given them 30. We go back to here. The total amount of medication, which we've got 30, says to divide that by the number of doses to be administered in a specific time. I don't really like how they word that. It's really weird. 1 every 3 days. I mean, basically you're gonna end up multiplying 3 times every 3 days. So That is such a weird problem to work out. But anyway, you're only going to need one every 3 days, so you basically could do 30 times 3. Yeah, 30 times 3 days, so it'd be 90 days. Sorry. A little brain smidge there. So that should last 90 days. You're just multiplying it. 30 tablets for 3 days. Okay, let's work on another one. That one's a weird one. Okay, look at number 6. It says, how long, 584, how long will the medication that provided prescription last if taken appropriately? So we've got this one, it's like Altace, maybe 5 milligrams. We probably don't even need the milligrams. 62 is how many they've given them. And it's 1 tablet BID. So basically you've got 62 tablets divided by how many we need in a day. So we need 2 doses per day. Okay. And okay, now the other one's making this one. 62 divided by that is 31. So we got 31 days of medication. That last one, here's why I couldn't get it to work. So I'm sorry, it just clicked with me. That 2.5 every 3 days, you would do 30 divided by, it would be 1 tablet over 3 days. So you'd multiply by the reciprocal is where I got that. I didn't know how to do it. It just looked weird. But that's it. That's all you do for these. So very, very simple. Look at one that has another. Look at number 7. Physician prescribes erythromycin, 200 milligrams TID using this label. So 200 milligrams TID. How many days would it last? So let's look. We have 200 milliliters. Okay, our dose is for 200 milligrams, and what's available is 200 milligrams per 5 milliliters. And so every dose, so we can already figure out here, we just need 5 milliliters per dose. And they're going to do that 3 times a day. So in total, we've got 200 milliliters. We'll worry about that in a second. First, let's figure out how many milliliters per day do they need. They have 3 times a day, and they're doing 5 milliliters. That means they need 15 milliliters per day. Okay? So let's see. We've got 200 milliliters total. 200 divided by 15. Then 13.3 really. So 13 days. So how many doses are available in the medication? We can go back and do that times 3. That's going to give us our doses. Or we can just do 200 divided by 5, which is going to be what, 40? Yeah. Okay. And then the prescription label, take 5 milliliters 3 times a day. So until completed, you could say. It's basically 2 weeks of medication. So anyways, that's that. And that's it. You guys can, same thing you're going to do on here. We're going to do the post-test. We'll do that, just do the odd numbers. And that's it.